Be here with you for the next hour talking about professional wrestling, which is something we do every single day here on the Sports Byline Broadcasting Network. Tune in, iHeart, American Forces Radio, sportsbyline.com, over-the-air affiliates like KMAV and 99 KMSR, podcast replay on SiriusXM, or maybe you're video streaming on Twitch or YouTube. However you're joining me today, I'd just like to say thank you. Hopefully, wherever you are, it's sunny outside, and even if it's not, I hope it's sunny inside your mind. I don't know how sunny we are right now on the Twitch feed. It looks like I got a spinning wheel of death here when it comes to Twitch. So I don't know if that's affecting everybody or just my sorry phone right here. But if there is an issue, we'll obviously work on it during the break. But it's Friday on the program, and you know what that means? It means Brian took the day off. I have no idea where he is. I believe he's with his family. That's all I know. I heard a rumor that an Orca could be making an appearance. I think that is just, wishful thinking by some of you out there. I am hoping for myself that doesn't occur. I just had to hear about a clown being added to the NWA show, and I'll get into that a little bit later on because it is a deceptively busy day here on Friday in the wrestling business. Not only is there WWE SmackDown, where there will be lots of talking, and you'll find out more about that as we go along here, but AEW Rampage is live. AEW Battle of the Belts 6 will take place right after that. We have CMLL taking place every Friday night like they do at Arena Mexico. Overnight, we have the New Japan show, which will be kicking off. Sakura Genesis, where Sonata will face off against Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. And we have NWA 312 pay-per-view taking place tonight on Fight TV. So a ton of shows to look at and a ton of news to get into, and we will get that started when we get back from break. Wrestling Observer Live.
There's the front row being pretty quiet over there. Oh, come on. Ooh, nice. Armbar!
The show, Mike Sempervive here, Wrestling Observer Live. You know, we do this show for an hour at a time every single day, but if you want us 24/7, well, you can try to find me on the gram now. But on the Dummies Doge app, Brian is at Brian Alvarez. The timeline for this show is at WONF4W, and the broadcaster is at Sports Byline USA. I'll just go ahead and get right to it. On the front page of WrestlingObserver.com, posted by Joseph Courier, WWE issues statement on Auschwitz footage being shown in video package. A WWE spokesperson said the footage being shown was an error. I would assume they would say that and not say that it was intentional, but in an article published by the Washington Post on Friday, it was noted that a WWE spokesperson has apologized for the footage being shown and called it an error. The footage was shown in a Rey Mysterio versus Dominic Mysterio video package that aired on Peacock during the pre-show. For the first night of WrestleMania 39, it was displayed while Prison Dom talked about having served hard time. The image was replaced by the time the video package aired that night on the WrestleMania 39 main card. We had no knowledge of what was depicted, WWE said in its statement. As soon as we learned, it was removed immediately. Obviously, we talked about this yesterday. The Auschwitz Memorial and Museum criticized WWE in a tweet on Wednesday, saying that the footage was shameless. The fact that Auschwitz image was used to promote a WWE match is hard to call an editing mistake. Exploiting the site that became a symbol of erroneous human tragedy is shameless and insults the memory of all victims of Auschwitz, the tweet said. So, again, I believe it was an honest mistake. I would hope at least that it was an honest mistake, but I truly believe that it was an honest mistake, and I don't blame the Auschwitz Memorial for coming out so strong against it and making sure that, hey, you know, make sure you're doing your due diligence, make sure you're doing your double checking when you see some sort of scene like that, that you know where the actual source is coming from, so these types of situations don't ever happen again. So hopefully that puts that to bed. What will not be put to bed is the battle over, at least when it comes to fans, should it have been Roman or should it have been Cody? And Dave Meltzer writes a little bit about that today in the brand new edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, and this is also posted up on the main site. It was posted up also by Joseph Courier about an hour ago. Gives you a little bit of a look into what Dave wrote in the newsletter. Roman Reigns retaining the undisputed WWE Universal Championship at WrestleMania 39 was not a late decision. In the newest edition of the newsletter, Dave notes Reigns defeating Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 39 was, quote, always the plan. Reigns winning was always the plan, although it was kept secret and almost nobody knew, end quote. Reigns defeated Rhodes in the main event of WrestleMania 39 Night 2 this past Sunday. The finish of the match involved interference by Solo Sikoa. We talked yesterday, I believe it was either yesterday or the day before, about Paul Heyman appearing on Ariel Helwani's podcast, where he said that he believes that following Rhodes' loss, he's a bigger star than he was before. And the quote went like this: "That's what you want, a challenger to come out a bigger star than he would have been had he won this championship, because then where do you go from there? What's the story to tell? Now that you know the story, it's Cody's redemption." It is a story, and I'm not going to complain about it because I haven't seen it in action yet. And what they've done so far has been really, really good. But what have been the story had he won the championship? If I recall correctly, Paul Heyman cut his teeth in the WWF locker room, the WWF locker room, where there were champions like Bruno Sammartino and Bob Backlund, who I believe had, 0 shots against superstar Billy Graham before he won the title in Madison Square Garden. And then they decided to, tell the story for about 8 years there. Same thing with Hulk Hogan and the Iron Sheik. And I know this is something that my friend Brian Solomon pointed out as well, too. what would have been difficult about that story? It was a redemption arc. He was coming back. There was a lot to tell there. But, again, there's a long way to go with this, obviously, and I know it drives people crazy. I can't blame you if you're saying I'm checking out of all this. That's what I wanted. They didn't give it to me. I'm going to go ahead and dust off for a while. Hey, that's the way it goes. You know, there's going to be some people like that. We'll see. I think they should have made that move, but I'm willing to go ahead and see what happens here. Obviously, we're getting Cody Rhodes against Brock Lesnar as a speed bump, as part of Cody's redemption arc that he'll have to face Roman Reigns. And doesn't that too as well? I mean, I don't want to say that it kind of will point out that if this is Cody's redemption, if this is Cody's, like, so the next time they wrestle, he's going to win the title? Or is there going to be, who knows? The only thing I know is there's going to be a lot of talking tonight on SmackDown. What it was already advertised earlier on this week was that Triple H, much like he did on Raw on Monday, was going to address the WWE Universe tonight. This is from WWE.com. WWE's Chief Content Officer Triple H ignited the Los Angeles crowd to kick off Raw after WrestleMania and will return this week on Friday Night SmackDown. Coming off the most successful WrestleMania in history, the message from the game was simple. We're not going anywhere. Maybe he says the same thing tonight on SmackDown. I don't know, but he will be talking on the show. Also on the show, Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar against Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio. I was kind of thinking about this because I'm a big boxing fan, you know, and Oscar De La Hoya and Tito Trinidad and Rosario and Chavez, and I mean, Mexico and Puerto Rico, man. Rey Mysterio getting turned on by Santos Escobar is not what I want. But I don't see Rhea Ripley hanging out with the rest of the group for too much longer. Finn Balor's got staples in his head, and I know he's not going to miss any time, but how do you get Damian Priest booed in Puerto Rico? And I know smacking around Bad Bunny is going to do that, but could we see Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio and Legado del Fantasma all get together and put a thump on Rey Mysterio? I hope that's not the case. I hope that's not what the Latino World Order is, because I would love to see them be baby faces. I would love to see Santos Escobar get a babyface push. And frankly, I think a lot of, the team as well, too. And they get no shine whatsoever. They've been mixed in with the Viking Raiders. There's been this person. They have not gotten their due. So I hope that they don't do what I have a funny feeling that they may, and that's end up turning everybody on Rey Mysterio, because it's an easy thing to do, and it gives you a reason to have Damian Priest really be hated by everybody in Puerto Rico. Rhea Ripley will also be on the show addressing the WWE Universe. WWE.com. What will Ripley say when she hits the ring, grabs a mic, and claims her throne? I don't know, but I bet you she's interrupted by Raquel Rodriguez. Jey Uso against Sami Zayn. That's going to be the best match on the show as long as they're given time to do it. What will the ending be? Who knows? But I do know that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens will also address the WWE Universe tonight. Still charged up from their electric triumph, the new title holders will journey to the blue brand. Imperium and the Brawling Brutes are also on the show, too. Man, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Imperium, Brawling Brutes. Make it a wash. I'm down with all of that. Get into AEW Rampage, Battle of the Belts, NWA 312, New Japan, and a whole lot more when we get back. Wrestling Observer Live.
Don't do it, man.
Mike Sempervive here with you, Wrestling Observer Live. The big boss man, Brian Alvarez, will be back with me on Monday. Jim Valley will be with you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific. And then Andrew Zarian will be joining you Sunday at 6 p.m., 3 o'clock Pacific. Happy Easter, happy Passover, happy Ramadan, all that. If you celebrate those things, good on you. I hope you enjoy it this weekend. Hope to enjoy Rampage tonight and Battle of the Belts. I'm wondering what time I fall asleep at. Well, let's be honest, it's probably going to be before Rampage, and that's even with the Red Bull here. And this is for you ASMR kids. There you go. Rampage from the Ryan Center in Kingston, Rhode Island. I don't think there's been a wrestling show at this building before. It's an 8,000-seat building that primarily functions as the home of the University of Rhode Island men's and women's basketball teams. I was looking to see if there were any matches or any shows that they've had. It hasn't been open all that long. It's been open a couple of years, and I know even with the pandemic going on, I'm still surprised that there are really no events that have ever taken place here. There was on Facebook, I looked, came up, and it's like Ryan Center, past events. Sunday, September 5th, 2021, Mike Birbiglia, who's a comedian. Thursday, December 16th, 2021, Playboy Cardi on the King Vamp Tour. And then that's it. That's it until AEW making their Rhode Island debut tonight at the Ryan Center. And then coming up on September 9th, the Postal Service and Death Cab for Cutie, their 20th anniversary co-headlining tour. So apparently not a lot going on in greater Rhode Island there. But there is wrestling tonight, including Rampage and Battle of the Belts. And what Rampage has got scheduled is Hook against Ethan Page for the FTW title. This is a rematch of the match they had on Dynamite, where Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy turned on the Firm. Darby Allin will face off against another member of the Firm, Lee Moriarty, who's going to have Big Bill at his side. You can see, obviously, Darby Allin getting the victory there and then probably cutting a promo in the same way that Sammy Guevara did on Wednesday. Hopefully it's a lot shorter. I was surprised with how much Brian liked on Wednesday, at least as far as what he thought was great, like the, Riho and Jamie Hayter, which I thought, by the end of it got much, much better, and I thought it was very solid. But, the promo from Sammy was good, but I thought it went on for a while. He was out of breath. I thought there were some things about Wednesday's show that I was surprised he was so jacked up about, but picking nits there. Also tonight, Anna Jas against Julia Hart, and the Acclaimed Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Ange will face off against somebody. 3 mystery people. Maybe it's the job team they had that faced off against the Blackpool Combat Club that was left unnamed but not left unscathed, as they just got brutalized by them. After Rampage wraps up, Battle of the Belts 6 will come on immediately following. AEW International Championship, Orange Cassidy against Dralistico. That sounds good. ROH World Tag Team Championship, the Lucha Brothers against Powerhouse Hobbs and QT Marshall. And I don't get it with the Powerhouse Hobbs thing. I guess technically he's still got the house of, the Book of Hobbs. I don't get it. To have him do the vignettes that he did, cut the promos that he did about himself, and then be put in the QTV thing, that could have been somebody else who may have used the TV time being joined up with QT. I still don't know why Powerhouse Hobbs needed it. I don't know why this match is necessarily taking place unless something is going to happen where there will be an opponent that makes himself known for Powerhouse Hobbs here coming up. But I just look at that on paper and it's like, okay. TBS Championship match, Jade Cargill against Billy Starks. Billy Starks she just had her prom, so if she has an early birthday, the oldest she could be is like 18, right? Right? That's, yeah, 18 years old. She's got, 3 more years experience than Jade Cargill does, and wrestles a hell of a lot more than she does. This is a big test for Billy Starks. I mean, I have no smoke with Jade Cargill whatsoever. I wish there was a way that they could get her out on the road or do more, become more comfortable in there, get better. But Billy Starks, I mean, this is going to be really interesting here, and it'll be interesting to see, how this match is laid out and how it ends up. But if she has a big night here, I mean, look, Nick Wayne is already on board right now for whenever he's out of high school. He is going to be there. Billy Starks is, again, not a 1-to-1 equivalent here, but certainly, I mean, we're talking generational rivals and friends here together. So that's a really interesting match. Later on will be New Japan Sakura Genesis. So if you're on the West Coast, I'm not sure exactly. I'd have to double check and see what time it comes on. But at some point overnight for all of us here on the East Coast, interesting show. This has got the main event of Kazuchika Okada against Sonata, who is now joined up with Taka Michinoku. That was almost Taka Michinoku there. And the rest of Just 5 Guys, which became, just 4 guys. It was just 4 guys. Now it's just 5 guys. Adam Summers of the Big Audio Nightmare wonders if we'll end up with just 6 guys when all of this is left, with somebody else joining the team. But unlike Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, where I guess you can make a case as to why Cody Rhodes shouldn't win the title, I don't think there's anyone out there that can convince me of why Sonata should not win this title tonight. You have gone through all of this effort. You have changed stables. You have changed his look. You have a brand new ring entrance where guys are coming out from, 4 different corners, and then Sonata strolls out there with the New Japan Cup in his hands. Like, if it's not now, it's not going to be ever. And Adam and I, and this is up for free for anybody out there, my friend Adam Summers and I, the Big Audio Nightmare radio show that we do, wherever you find your favorite podcasts, it's free for you. We talk a little bit about the fact that, okay, well, maybe if Sonata does lose here, does he go into a team, but seriously, he's got to win, right? Okada doesn't need the belt right now, and in fact, New Japan, I think as a company, would be better off putting Okada in as many places around the world as he's willing to travel to continue to get the word out there about New Japan World, and frankly, from a fan's point of view, to let him have really awesome matches all over the place, including in AEW and on North American soil. So Sonata is my pick to get the victory here. Hiromu Takahashi and Robbie Eagles. I would love to see Robbie Eagles win the title. I think it would be great. A newest member of TMDK, a former junior heavyweight champion. The pandemic helped to really slow his role in starting to build himself up. But now that he is back there and back on a regular basis, I hope they go back to him as one of the real focal points of that division here for the future. Hiromu, he doesn't need this title. He and, Naito, and look, if Naito ever won the IWGP title again, no complaints out of me, but neither one of those guys need that belt right now. You can put them in with anybody and to do anything, and people will be falling all over themselves. So, Hiromu Takahashi going to chase Robbie Eagles and also being involved in other things, I think would be a great idea. IWGP Tag Team Championship, Hiroki Goto, Yoshihashi against Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis. And Aussie Open has been awesome, whether it be against FTR, whether it be against Okan and Cobb or Goto and Yoshihashi or whoever it is. Mark Davis obviously took advantage of Will Ospreay being injured and taking the ball and running with that during the New Japan Cup. So I think it's great time for Aussie Open to win those titles, have Goto and Yoshihashi chase after them. Again, the only way that I can, and that might be a tell, if Fletcher and Davis don't win, maybe that's a tell that Sonata's not going to win, and we may see him paired up with somebody to go after Goto and Yoshihashi, but I think that's just insane to think about right now. New Japan World Television title, Zack Sabre Jr. and Shota Umino. Shota Umino has had much better matches recently. Zack Sabre Jr., and obviously Umino's, one of the future main parts of that company. In fact, in some people's eyes, he is the guy for the future. But, another good performance here against Zack Sabre Jr. will go a long way, although I think ZSJ holds on to that title. Probably the most notable match for people outside of Japan, Mercedes Moné, Azumi, and Hazuki, IWGP World Women's Championship 3-way match. Hard to believe that Mercedes loses the title here, considering that, she's got a match already set up with Mayu Iwatani. So it's like, I don't think the result is in doubt, but what we'll probably see is some sort of face-off between the two on the show. The only other thing really of note on there is going to be the Grand Prix winning commemoration special 6-man tag team match, which has got a bunch of mystery members that we won't know until we hear their theme music. So I hear the commercial music, and that means we're going to break. Wrestling Observer Live.
Leg drop.
Sorry, but you don't have your shell yet.
That's it. Opinion. Damn, you gotta stop laying on your head like that.
Let's go, Treehouse.
So your name's Turtle.
Turtle.
Broke for sure.
Figure four? A figure four? You can know the figure four? What is this submission? Is it a figure four? Oh man. That's too funny. And a sleeper. Where's Ansaguri?
He likes it. Use the ball.
I think you look bad on that one.
Drop it back.
Oh, just on that. Oh, what an evil.
Blame on the ref.
That's it. Super kick. Uh-oh. Oh, he gets crushed.
Mike Sempervive here with you, Wrestling Observer Live. I need a lot more DJ mugs and old Cypress Hill beats. That's what I need for this show. I got to get cracking on that, but got to get cracking on a whole lot here. Still a whole lot left to talk about, not the least of which is Matt Hardy. And this is up on the front page of WrestlingObserver.com today, posted by Ian Carey. Talked a little bit about his brother Jeff, who is doing well after eye surgery. This was from his Extreme Life of Matt Hardy podcast, where apparently he also talked about Vince McMahon's exit from WWE, but gives everybody an update on Jeff, saying that he just had some eye surgery and he's recovering, probably a few weeks out from being fully physically cleared, but hopefully sooner than later he'll be up for doing stuff physically again. He did sneak away with his family and go on a little vacation for a few days, which is nice. He's in a real good place in life. I think that he's very happy with where he's at, and it makes me very proud of him and also fills me with joy that he is happy where he is at in his life. Seemed a little redundant, but the man was probably emotional talking about it. Jeff Hardy's DUI case stemming from his arrest in June of 2022 was closed in February after he submitted a plea of nolo contendere. See, that's no contest in Latin for all you people out there. It'll take a Sempervive of Latin origin to go ahead and give you that type of information. Not that I've ever pleaded it myself before, but that DUI case is, obviously, we talked about it plenty of times on here. It was a terrible one, both optically when you see it, for him falling off the wagon and basically having it roll over him like this. His license is now suspended for 10 years. He'll have to undergo court-mandated DUI school or a drug rehab program. Was ordered to pay $4,586 in fines and court fees and sentenced to an undisclosed amount of community service as well. If he is in a really good place right now and he is happy and he is around his family, keep that man there. Hopefully, if he's doing something physical, actually, I hope he's doing nothing physical, but we know that's not going to be the case. The guy's probably riding a motorcycle right now somewhere. He can't stop doing these types of things. But look, if I never see Jeff Hardy again, this is like Bryan Danielson. I'm happy Bryan Danielson's back. I'm happy he's getting to do what he wanted to do. But when he was with WWE and they had basically said, no, we are not letting you perform anymore, you know what? He's given me enough. I was cool with that. Katsuyori Shibata the same way. Obviously, he's back wrestling for Ring of Honor. He is absolutely not wrestling for New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, again, it was the same way. I hated the way he went out. If it's up to him, he's taking the risk coming back. If the doctors, again, there are doctors obviously that have cleared him and let him go on to be able to do this. If that's the case, I'm not going to stop the man, but if he didn't wrestle anymore, I'd be good with it. That goes here for Jeff Hardy. Just stay healthy. You got still a long life ahead of you with a family and kids and all that sort of stuff. Stay doing what you're doing. Hey, did everything work out perfect with AEW? Who cares if it did or not? You're Jeff Hardy. That's why they wanted you in the first place. There's nothing to come back for. Don't be Ric Flair. Just don't be Ric Flair. It's just a good... Well, it goes for a lot in life. 3 new title matches and the Impact in-ring debut of Santino Marella were announced for next Sunday's Impact Rebellion pay-per-view. I didn't see Impact last night. I only saw a small little Twitter clip of Josh Alexander handing over the Impact World Heavyweight Championship to Scott D'Amore, and it was great. His wife, Jay Chung, was in the ring. Which, for all you youngs out there, you probably don't know that she was a member of the Embassy way back in Ring of Honor. I swear, that was the case. And she's with their young son, and he's handing over the belt, and the kid comes up and grabs it out, takes it back over. And then, no, Josh grabs it from him. He goes to give it back. Kid runs over again. Very, very well done. I thought it was really, really good. Kushida and Steve Maclin will now be facing off for that championship. They had their contract deal last night. Speedball Mike Bailey and Jonathan Gresham also wrestled last night on the show, but that went to a no contest because of Trey Miguel's interference. As a result of that interference, Miguel will now have to put up the X Division title against both in a 3-way elimination coming up on April 16th in Toronto on the undercard of that Kushida-Steve Maclin show. Impact tag titles on the line as well. Both clubs, Chris Bay and Ace Austin, defend them against the Motor City Machine Guns. And, I wonder at some point if we don't see Chris Bay and Ace Austin link up with Jay White and Juice Robinson. In at some point, some sort of crossover there. I could absolutely see that happening. Also, what has been announced coming up here on April 16th will be Deonna Purrazzo against Jordan Grace, or Purrazzo against Grace and Mickie James for the Knockouts title. And Santino Marella, who was attacked by the Design, he's Impact's Director of Authority. Well, that attack has caused Marella to want to come back into the ring, where he will team with Dirty Dango and digital media champion Joe Hendry. I'm not... The team of Santino Marella, Dirty Dango, and Joe Hendry, that sounds pretty entertaining to me. So they will be facing off against the Design as well. So also the Coven will defend their Knockouts tag team titles against the Death Dolls as well, too. So that card is shaping up to look pretty good. I would assume Steve Maclin's going to come out on top there. I'd love to be surprised. Kushida's here. It's not like he's going back to Japan. He's here. I would love to see him win that title just because I'm an old Kushida fan and I think it would be awesome. But it's probably time for Steve Maclin to have that title the same way. It's probably time for Chris Adonis to have the NWA title. He's going to wrestle Tyrus. But, one thing about Impact talked about the knockouts there, and I thought this was really cool. And as everyone knows, I'm an old wrestling nerd, and I like magazines and books and things like that. And in the mail today, when I got home, was the new copy of Pro Wrestling Illustrated with all of the knockouts there, all jockeying for position when it came to the Knockouts Championship. Why is this so cool? Because they went back in time and they recreated the PWI UWF Cup. And I remember buying this magazine. I can remember it was November of 1986, actually going in. This was one of my several stints of living in Columbia, Maryland. I was living in Oakland Mills, and they had the Oakland Mills Village Center. And you would go in, and to the right there was a grocery store to the left, and to the right there was a barber shop, a haircut spot. And you would go in Saturday morning, and there would always be wrestling on. There were in World Class. I remember going in, and like World Class was on, and then we went down to get videos in the video spot, and they had obviously all the Coliseum videos, and they had those worldwide wrestlings, the Crockett, the syndicated ones that they put out there, and the best one of all, I Like to Hurt People, which I must have rented 795 billion thousand times. I love that movie. A campy, ridiculous, terrible in so many ways as a movie, but if you're a wrestling fan, just so much cool old footage in there. But we were leaving, got I Like to Hurt People or whatever it was that I got, and we went in, and they actually had this one right there on the stand right there as you check out. So I thought that was a really cool thing for, I don't know if it was Kevin McElvaney. I don't know who gets credit for it, but I thought it was a great idea. And I tell you what, they have done an incredible job with Pro Wrestling Illustrated. It is so difficult when it comes to magazines and periodicals. They're so out of date. So often it's like, how do you try to make something current that you're not going to have out to people until, 6 to 8 weeks after it happens, And I think they've done, a really brilliant job. They have great people in there like Brian Solomon, like Pat LaPrade. I mean, great authors of really good books, Stu Stacks, I believe, is still, I don't know if he's a part of it, a contributor, but Harry Burkett and Al Castle have been at the magazine forever now. I mean, it's, I think I got Stu in my mind, the old assistant editor, because he was on Brian Solomon's Shut Up and Wrestle podcast. But things like, Billy Starks, the most likely to succeed, they have a really cool deal here on a story about the wrestling renaissance in the Bronx, with a bunch of photos and different things. They have If You Build It, a history of Vietnam pro wrestling. There is a lot of really cool stuff that they're trying to do with the magazine, and I think they're doing a great job with it. And as somebody who does love books and does love magazines, I think they are doing, more than yeoman's work. So congratulations to everybody as a part of that. You popped me when it came to the cover of that thing, and I think that's great. NWA 312, might as well get back to that. A big card, and when I say big card, I'm not sure about when it comes to pomp and circumstance, but when it comes to just the amount of matches, there are 14 of them if you include the 4 pre-show matches. There was one added today. There was a clown added to the card, and some of you may be saying, wait a second, I thought Bully Ray was already wrestling Thomas Latimer. There's a different one. There's Yabo the Clown, who will be facing off against J.R. Kratos. I don't know, folks. I don't know. I also don't know Gags the Gimp, who will be wrestling Sal the Pal in a hair versus mask strap match on the pre-show. Gags the Gimp. All right. On the main show, Kenzie Page will face off against Max the Impaler. Tournament final for one of NWA's many championships, the NWA World Women's Television title. Brand new belt. Would love to see that belt on Max. Scion with Austin Idol against EC3 for Scion's NWA National Heavyweight Championship. just for some reason feels like I could see Austin Idol turning on Scion and hanging out with EC3. I could see that working there. Tyrus against Chris Adonis. I know Billy Corrigan was out and about saying, I think it's because of politics. I think it's other things. It doesn't have to do with the wrestling. People don't really understand that he's, Tyrus is like an old school Heat guy like Ernie Ladd. And look, I don't want to badmouth Tyrus. I don't want to do anything like that. I'll just say, in this day and age, he ain't cutting it. And I don't think back in the day, in the condition he's in at 50 years old, as big as he is, that he would have cut it. And it's all right. I know he's on, Fox Nation or whatever it is. He obviously gets a lot of attention for you that you like. That's cool and all that. Let him get it. But, him from Nick Aldis, no. Chris Adonis can at least take the belt. He's good. I like him on the mic. I've liked what I've seen from him in AAA. I think it's time to go ahead and put the belt on him. Stop the Tyrus experiment. Chris Adonis can work with a lot more guys, have a lot better matches, and probably take you a lot further than Tyrus had. Camille will face off against La Rosa Negra for the NWA World Women's Championship. Pretty Empowered against Maddie Rinkowski and Missa Kate for the NWA World Women's Tag Team Championship. Bestia 666 and Mecha Wolf against Magnum Muscle for the NWA World Tag Team Championship. And Joe Alonzo against Kerry Morton for the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Championship. They have all of that. And the Bob Luce Memorial Battle Royal. You want to look up something funny? Look up Bob Luce cutting promos about pro wrestling. Homicide's in there, a bunch of other people as well, too. But we're out of time. We'll get B back from break in a moment. Wrestling Observer Live.
Let's go, buddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match, What a jobber. What a jobber.
Mike Sempervive here with you, Wrestling Observer Live. As you know, Big Boss Man Brian Alvarez will be back with me on Monday. I don't know if he's going to be around with Dave come Sunday night. You may have to wait until after Raw on Monday to get those two back together, but I believe Dave is doing a show with Garrett at some point tonight. We'll see what's up with the weekend. Surely coming up, we're going to have the Brian and Vinny and Granny and Craig and who else is there? Well, who else is there? We got Sean. We know producer Rob's not there, but at some point they'll all get together and do another show there. So just stay tuned, WrestlingObserver.com, or over on Brian's Twitter, at Brian Alvarez, where you can be a super follower as well. And Chelsea Green tweeted a photo from the hospital on Thursday announcing she's been hospitalized after suffering a severe stomach bug and distended gallbladder. 4 days after making her WrestleMania debut in a tag match on night 2 of WrestleMania 39 and 2 days after celebrating her birthday, Green revealed that she had been hospitalized. I thought I celebrated my first Mania moment too hard. Turns out I actually had a severe stomach bug and a distended gallbladder. Thank God the manager of the ER took care of me. Will not be filing any complaints this weekend. The absolute best to Chelsea Green. There's a little bitty GCW part of me that wants to crack and make jokes, but you know what? I'll go ahead and save those from making them on Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green. You just go ahead and you get better. Oh man, imagine if that would happen a couple days earlier too. You know, how that would have thrown a wrench into things after her, voyage and being signed there and being gone and being around the indies and being in this promotion and that. You finally get your WrestleMania moment, and thankfully fate did not take that away from her. But at some point the music's going to come up and they're going to take this show away from me. And if you listen to the last 57 minutes or so, they probably should. I'd really like to thank producer Daniel. I'd like to thank producer Jared. And I'd like to thank all of you out there for watching and listening. My name is Mike Sempervive. I shall talk to you again after a while.